It being 5 o'clock, the Lafourche Parish Council meeting of August 8th, 2017 is hereby called to order. Ms. Carleen, roll call, please.
Mr. Jones? Here. Ms. Sposito? Here. Mr. Grow? Here. Mr. Melvin? Here. Mr. Bourgeois?
Here.
Mr. Paralou?
Here.
Mr. Otin? Here. Mr. Lafont is coming. He's running a little late. Mr. Lorraine? Here. And Mr. Cantrell? Here.
If everyone please stand, we'll be led invocation by Mr. Bo Melvin, followed by the pledge led by Mr. Bourgeois.
Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Dear Lord, we pray that you can lead us for the betterment of the Lafourche Parish and for our constituents and the people we represent. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Section 8, approval of minutes. Number 1, motion to accept the minutes from the July 25th, 2017 regular session. Can I get a move? Somebody move on it. Moved by Mr. Otan, second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1. All right, Section B, public hearing and ordinances for ratification. Can we get a motion to open? Moved by Mr. Bourgeois, second by Mr. Lorraine. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Mr. Chairman.
8-0-1. Yes, sir.
Yeah, can I get the administrator to maybe address item number 8 and I'd like to move from number 2 to go to number 8 first, but I'd like for him to explain it, what we're talking about, if you don't mind.
Okay, so you want to make a motion to deviate to number 8?
Yes, and then he could explain it.
Okay, second by Mr. Bourgeois. In discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Being none, passes. We are now on ordinance number 8. Ordinance providing for a 2017 supplemental appropriation 17-022 within the 2017 operations and maintenance budget to increase revenue and expenses for recreation districts 1, 2, 4, 8, and 11 that were not previously included in the 2017 operations and maintenance budget, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transactions as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Moved by Mr. Bourgeois, second by Mr. Lorraine. Any discussion from the public? 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Being none. You have questions on this, Mr. Haas?
Yes, sir. We just wanted to explain to the council, the monies involved in item 8 were monies that were oversighted in moving forward when they made the 2017 budget due to the consolidation. So right now what we have is the general recreation fund funding these individual recreation districts, as opposed to their actual millage money doing it. So that's all we're trying to do, is get their millage money in their accounts where they belong officially on the accounting side, and that will free up our general funds in the general recreation fund.
Okay. Ms. Sposito?
Mr. Haas, you're saying this is an error and that was done in Finance Department?
Yes, ma'am. It was an oversight in finance. They caught it
Okay.
recently, so they're just trying to correct the situation.
All right.
Mr. Grove?
I have a quick question on it. When we had to do it supplemental for Rec District 7, which was Thibodeau a few weeks back, being that they run it for us, it was left out of the budget. And when I was doing my research on that, I remember hearing that every other district was allocated the funds from the previous year, plus I think 5 or 10% increase, just to make sure everything kind of shook out right. Did that not happen?
Well, that, Mr. Grodd, had to do a little more research on. I think that happened before my time here, to be honest with you. I don't have an answer for you, and our Director of Finance is sick, couldn't be here tonight, so I apologize for that. But I can get you that answer as soon as I can talk to him.
Okay, any other questions or discussion on this item? Being none, we'll move it to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1. Can we get a motion to deviate back to the original agenda?
Move. Second. Second.
Moved by Mr. Bourgeois, second by Mr. Lorraine. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? 801. We're back to ordinance number 2, ordinance providing for a 2017 supplemental appropriation 17-023 within the 2017 operation and maintenance budget to cover the expenses of an engineer and a change order to the construction cost for fishing pier in Leeville 16007, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transactions as provided for by Article 6 of Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter, moved by Mr. Lorraine, second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion from the audience, from the public? One time, 2 times, 3 times. Being none, any discussion from the council?
Can I
Yes, sir.
get the engineer to come speak in front of the council?
You certainly can.
Thank you.
Name and address for the record, please, sir.
Turn on the mic, Mr. Joe.
White button.
Now? There we go. Joe Picciolo with Picciolo and Associates, 115 Picciolo Parkway in Cutoff. Originally, for the Leeville boat launch, the pavilion and the pier, the parish dedicated $166,000. The port dedicated $166,000, and we also got $42,000 from the Tourist Commission for the project. The total project from the original construction contract, our engineering fees, permitting fees, and testing fees, we were still short some $30,000 in the budget. Now, this reference to this change order is a change order that the administration had requested for us to put insulation under the roof of the pavilion. That wasn't done. We researched it some more and felt it wasn't necessary, so this change order is obsolete. We're not doing that. The project is complete. We've completed it last Friday. We are going to be coming to you with the first change order next meeting for a deduction of some $9,000 in change. We underran several contract quantities, so the project did come in under budget by some $9,000. But this supplemental appropriation is to cover the additional cost that the original budgeting didn't cover for the overall project.
Okay, any questions? Ms. Fosito?
Okay, I know I spoke with you briefly before, but just for the record, you're saying that there was the contract cost and the engineering cost. Those 2 numbers should have been combined to give the total budget. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. Normally, we don't get in within those processes within the
No, I'm just
administration.
asking you, and the wrong amount you're saying was budgeted
Yes, ma'am.
by the parish.
Yes, ma'am.
Was that an error in our finance department?
Well, I don't know the processes within
Okay,
the
but-
finance department,
the-
but it wasn't budgeted.
The wrong
within-
amount was budgeted.
That's right. The wrong amount was budgeted. There have been no change orders yet from the construction contract, and there's no change orders from my engineering contract, and there will not be none. The first change order is going to be next meeting, and it's going to be a deductive change order for some $9,000.
I guess what I'm concerned about is, first of all, this whole thing, but that's the second item in a row where we have a problem with our finance department and budgeting. So that's concerning to me on other levels, but.
Mr. Jones?
Yeah, this question is for the administration. A couple of weeks ago, if there wasn't enough money in the budget, the project couldn't be awarded. And I think Mr. Lassane raised some saying about that. Do you remember that conversation?
No, I don't.
Mr. Grove, I think it's for Abbey Road. The project shouldn't have been awarded if there wasn't money in the budget.
That I remember,
That's what you remember?
yes.
So why was this contract awarded?
Because we had all the figures in front of us. We never had Mr. Picciolo's figure. I guess I'm assuming that's the reason why.
I think it was just an oversight by the
Oversight, but
administration.
all the
That's right.
figures was in front of you for Abbey Road. And the money wasn't there, so you could not do the project.
We shouldn't
So I
have.
don't see no different with this project.
Ms. Fosito?
Well, all I want to say is for people watching, for it to be budgeted, you get the construction cost and the engineer cost. It's not real complicated. You just combine those 2, and that's the cost of the project. So in addition to what Mr. Jones is saying, it's just a simple process that wasn't done well, correctly.
Mr. O'Town.
Yeah, so I'm still a little confused. I just want to make sure I'm clear. So the way the ordinance reads is that we're providing for a 2017 supplemental to cover expenses and a change order to the construction costs. But you're saying that this is not a change order, is that?
That's correct. There's no more change order. This change order was for insulation on the roof of the pavilion, and that's no longer being done.
But it's still $39,000 that's needed?
I don't
So that
think,
hasn't changed, or?
I don't think there's $39,000 that's needed any longer.
Because that's what this is, I mean, this is requesting us to spend $39,000 for a change order, as well as engineers for the construction costs for, I mean, it's a supplemental, someone obviously has worked on it. I guess I'm just confused on if it's, I mean, I'm confused. Is the work done, is completed?
The project is complete.
So it's a finished, done deal?
It's a finished, done deal.
So you're out of $39,000.
No, our engineering fees have mostly been paid.
So where does this 39K go to if we approve this?
I think it's gonna go to the rest of my engineering fees and to pay the contractor the rest of his money. What's left on the project.
That's a rounded number, $39,000.
I don't know who came up with the money. I'm sure the finance department came up with the money, or how much money they needed.
Ms. Esposito.
Again, I think before it needs to be amended, the change order amount can't stay in there, and somebody needs to answer for the dollar amount that's necessary. But we're being asked to approve this ordinance as it's written with this amount that's here, and no one can tell us the actual amount that's necessary.
What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get with finance and find out if there was an error in finance, or, Joe, did you submit this in advance, or?
If you want to defer this to next meeting, I mean,
I'd
we
like
can.
to find out, get the information, because
And
I
we
don't
can
have
give
the
you an
information in
exact
front of me.
figure, because next meeting, we are gonna have the deductive change order, so,
James,
I
you pull
mean,
your second.
it's gonna be less than
You
39,000.
pull your motion and we defer this thing till next meeting? Okay, what's the next meeting date?
22nd.
This item will be deferred for further action August 22nd?
Yes, sir.
August 22nd.
And I'll bring the fees we'll get together with the finance department, and we'll get straight with exactly how much money is needed, and we can revise this. Can we revise this and present it to you next time?
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. We need to do better as stewards of the people's money if we don't know what we even need to complete a project that's been finished. It's ridiculous.
Well, I have those figures, I just didn't bring them with me.
I'm saying as a government,
wasn't
we don't
prepared.
know it.
Sorry,
So we appreciate it. We'll handle it next time.
thank you.
All right, thank you. Item number 3, ordinance amending ordinance 4432 and amending and reenacting Division 4 Traffic, Section 4097-Traffic Calming Policies and Procedures of Chapter 40-Traffic of the Code of Ordinances for the Lafourche Parish Council as it pertains to those streets, roads, lanes exempt from meeting the criteria necessary for the installation of traffic calming devices due to extenuating circumstances and installation of traffic calming devices. Moved by Mr. Esposito, second by Mr. Jones. Any discussion from the public? One time, 2 times, and 3 times. Being none. Any discussion from the council? Mr. Lorraine.
Yeah, from what I'm reading here, what we're doing is modifying, making it a lot easier to get speed humps. I'd like to know how many speed humps has this administration put out so far in a year and a half?
Ask the administration.
I'm asking.
I don't think we put out any, but I'll have to ask Mr. Barnes.
We have not put out any. We've repaired one in your district, but we have not put out any new ones.
Because this is saying that it's going to be up to the council to give a variance, which that's okay. But you're going to have nothing's gonna stop every street from the parish from having a speed hump. I mean, if you got rules and regulations to follow, you need to follow them. You wanna modify this, you wanna put speed humps at dead-end streets that probably don't qualify, but you're gonna find a way to do it. Everybody's gonna be hollering for speed humps, and they're not cheap. They're not cheap. This administration hasn't put any of them out yet, and it's still gotta go through the administration regardless of ordinance or whatever this council does. It doesn't matter. It's gotta go through the administration.
All right. Ms. Posito.
I realize it's got to go through the administration, and there'll be many other administrations after this one. The possibility to create a variance we have in so many other different aspects of government, there's no reason to say why we shouldn't have it here. If you're that married to this ordinance, I apologize, but I have to protect my residents. And if they're with a business with the type that ZZ has, and if they have a boat launch in their front yards, I'm going to protect my residents. Now, I can appreciate that you feel violated by this ordinance being amended. Nonetheless, I need to protect my residents. And so this doesn't allow everyone to put a speed bumps down dead-end streets. It does not allow that. The reason why this administration hasn't put any speed humps out is because there's no money been budgeted. So the program had basically died.
And another thing I want to tell the council is that when this administration came forward, I met with Don Matern and I told him, I said, get with the sheriff and see what you can do with the speed humps. Never did anything. I met with Reggie Bagala, never did anything. Nobody never did anything. Maybe Leaf might do something, I
Right,
don't
but
know.
I did step up, so
Huh?
I did do something, so.
You might have done something. And I'm not against you having the speed humps, but it's going to become political. Some people going to get them, some people won't. I got a lot of people that didn't qualify for them because they had to go according to what we had.
And I understand that, and just like there are variances with everything else, there needs to be some variance with the speed humps so that we can provide them the safety to our residents.
So in your case, I understand where you're coming from, and you probably need them. I'm not telling you you don't need them.
If your granddaughter was playing on 11 next to 11-foot wide street
So
lane
if
that boats
somebody
passed on,
in another area would want to have some, what are we going to tell them?
then that council member needs to do as I did and get the residents to come in and speak up for themselves, possibly get the sheriff to come in and speak for them and sell the case. If they can sell the case and convince the council, I had a few council members that went out and looked at the two streets. So I believe if the vote passes, it's not going to be because some of them just are just passing something. A few of them actually went out to look at the streets to see if it warranted speed humps. Did you ever go?
No, I
Curious.
never went.
Okay.
I go to enough streets in my area
I got you, I'm just asking. I
that
understand.
probably need them also.
But my point is that when we are required to approve or disapprove a variance, we may have to do something and venture out of our district sometimes.
But it still lies in the hands of the administration. You could pass all the ordinances you want, it don't matter.
And I realize that, but our residents need to know that I did everything I possibly could to protect them. And if the administration chooses not to, then that's on him. And the day a child gets hurt, that's also on him. Or
right.
whichever administration's behind him.
Mr. Cantrell, you have something?
It's not that I don't want to protect people, but we have a law we had to follow. And I think that we have to follow the law, and that's what I did. And if you want to change it, then it's up to you, the council here to change it. But don't put the blame on me because the ordinance was passed and the street didn't qualify. Because I would love to put everyone a speed bump that wants one. First of all, I don't think we have enough money to do it. But if you change it and vote on it, and they decide to do what you want, then I'll protect the residents in any district. But
Right, Mr. Jimmy, I didn't put the blame on you.
don't expect me to break the law because you come out and say.
No, that's why I'm here changing the law.
Well, okay,
But Mr. Daniel just said that it's still.
The way you said it, that I didn't want to protect your residents, that's not true.
No, you listened to half of what I said.
Okay.
Mr. Daniel said that it's still up to the administration. And I said, I want to give you the tools, the corrected law, the changed law, the amended law, the law that actually protects our citizens. I'm going to change the law so that you can make the choice as the parish president. And if you choose not to, then that's on you. But if this passes tonight, then you have the power to do what you want.
All right, we're going to move this thing to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Wow, passes 8-0-1. Number 4, ordinance amending ordinance 1628, changing the speed limit from 20 miles per hour to 15 miles per hour on Kramer Bayou Road in Kramer, Louisiana, Ward 6, District 2, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, providing for the placement of speed limit and speed check by radar signs and providing penalties for the violations thereof. Moved by Ms. Esposito, second by Mr. Jones. Any discussion from the public? One time, two times, and three times. Being none from the council. Being none, moving to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1. Number 5, ordinance requesting that traffic calming devices and the appropriate signage be installed on LaRousse Lane, Thibodaux, Louisiana, Ward 6, District 2, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, under the rule of exemption due to extenuating circumstances. Moved by Ms. Esposito, second by Mr. Jones. Any discussion from the public? One time, two times, three times. Being none from the council. Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1. Number 6, ordinance requesting that traffic calming devices and the appropriate signage be installed on Kramer Bayou Road, Kramer, Louisiana, Ward 6, District 2, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, under the rule of exemption due to extenuating circumstances. Moved by Ms. Esposito, second by Mr. Jones. Any discussion from the public? One time, two times, three times. Being none from the council. Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1. Item number 7, ordinance providing a variance for the Lafourche Parish Subdivision Regulations, Chapter 22, Article 6, Division 3, Roads, Section 22-409, Bravo, to allow the cross street in the proposed subdivision to line up with the cross street in the adjacent subdivision in the Old Town Subdivision Phase 1, as recommended by Lafourche Parish Planning Commission at their June 29, 2017 meeting. Moved by Mr. Jones. Second by Mrs. Esposito. Any discussion from the public? One time, two times, three times. Being none from the council. Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1. Item number 9, ordinance providing for a 2017 supplemental appropriation 17-026 within the 2017 operations and maintenance budget to increase Fund 123 Civil Defense to cover a contract between the State of Louisiana, Department of Health, and Lafourche Parish Government for Community Readiness 08061 with an effective date of April 1st, 2017 through July 1st, 2018, and to correct the carry forward from 2016 and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transaction as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Moved by Mr. Lorraine, second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion from the public? One time, two times, three times. Being none from the council. Mr. Jones.
Yeah, I'd like to know where's the contract for item number 9?
Anyone? This is for the administration. Anybody from the administration have an answer to that? Mr. Jones, would you repeat that question?
Where is the contract for item number 9? We can't vote on a contract we never seen.
Exactly. Do y'all need more time? Do you want to defer this item? Let's defer. You want to pull your second? Pull your motion? Deferred. We're going to defer it until the next meeting, which is August 22nd. Number 10, ordinance providing for a 2017 supplemental appropriation 17-024 within the 2017 operation and maintenance budget to de-obligate the CDBG Lockport Company Canal South Bank project. 11026, and deobligate the CDBG Laurel Valley Project 06007, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transactions as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Moved by Mr. Esposito, second by Mr. Jones. Any discussion from the public? One time, two times, three times. From the council, Mr. Jones. Moving to a vote, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801. Number 11, ordinance approving the holding of an election in 5th Ward Gravity Drainage District Number 5 of the Lafourche, of the Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, on Saturday, November 18, 2017, to authorize the levy of a special tax therein. Moved by Mr. Esposito and by Mr. Groh.
Substitute ordinance for that.
Okay.
Substitute ordinance.
So this is being substituted. You want to read the substitute?
This is the same, this in here that's different. Want me to say one?
Yes, please.
The bond attorneys contacted my office, and in their original ordinance, under Proposition Line 3, and ending with the 2027, they failed to put in the word year. So all the substitute ordinance is doing is adding the word year, and that's it. It will not change the intent. That's all they wanted to do. So that's the reason for the substitute ordinance.
Okay. Any other discussion on this? Being none,
We'll be voting on the substitute ordinance.
so we will vote on the substituted ordinance. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801. And do we have to go back and vote on it as substituted, or are we good? Okay. Okay. So the next round will be as submitted. Any further discussion on this from the public? One time, two times, three times? Being none from the council. Moving to a vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 801. Number 12, ordinance amending and reenacting Chapter 44, Vehicles for Hire of the Lafourche Parish Code of Ordinances, and in its entirety to enact new provisions regarding the transportation network services in Lafourche Parish, and to address other matters relative hereto, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mrs. Esposito. Pull it? Not defer, pull it? Okay. Item 12 is pulled. Number 13, ordinance ordering and calling special election to be held in the Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, and Road District Number 1 of the Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, to authorize the levy of special taxes therein, making application to the State Bond Commission in connection therewith, and providing for other matters in connection therewith. Moved by Mr. Bourgeois. Second by? No second? You second. Mr. Gross seconds it. Any discussion from the public? One time, two times, three times. Mr. Otan, you have something?
My only question is, why does it say on the breakdown of percentages it has library and then with a question mark? It just seems kind of odd that it says library and then question mark everywhere you see the breakdown of the percentages for this tax call. Why is that?
The bond attorneys write their ordinance.
That's what?
That's the way the bond attorneys write when they write their ordinance.
That's normal protocol, bond attorneys.
Yes. Because I questioned the same thing years ago.
Okay. Any other discussion on this? Being none, moving to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801. Mrs. Esposito, would you like to read the proposed? Oh, I'm sorry. Can we get a motion to close? Moved by Mr. Bourgeois, second by Mr. Grove. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? It is closed. Mrs. Esposito, Section C, please.
Number 14, proposed ordinance to rename the Matthews Government Complex the Lindell Toops Matthews Government Complex. Councilman Lorraine. Number 15, proposed ordinance establishing no swimming within 600 feet of the Golden Meadow Boat Launch, Golden Meadow, Louisiana, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, providing for the placement of no swimming within 600 feet, $500 fine signs, and providing penalties for the violation thereof. Councilman Lorraine. Proposed ordinance amending Ordinance 5444 and amending and reenacting Chapter 2 Administration, Article 3 Provisions Governing Operations of Parish Government Governing Body, Division 1, generally Section 2-68, Parish President's salary of the Lafourche Parish Code of Ordinances as it pertains to establishing the salary of the Lafourche Parish President effective with the next term of office, year 2016, adding the word base salary before throughout the ordinance and adding base salary in Section 3. It's Councilman Jones. 17, proposed ordinance establishing a three-way stop on Laverne Drive and George Drive, Villas at Layton Plantation, Thibodaux, Louisiana, Ward 1, District 1, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, installing the necessary three-way stop signs and providing for penalties for the violations thereof. It's Councilman Jones. 18, proposed ordinance establishing a three-way stop on George Drive and Ainsley Drive, Villas at Layton Plantation, Thibodaux, Louisiana, Ward 1, District 1, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, installing the necessary three-way stop signs and providing penalties for the violations thereof. Councilman Jones. Number 19, proposed ordinance to install additional 15 miles per hour speed limit and caution children at play signs on Laverne Drive, George Drive, and Ainsley Drive, Villas at Layton Plantation, Thibodaux, Louisiana, Ward 1, District 1, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, providing for the placement of additional speed limit and caution children at play signs and providing penalties for the violations thereof. Councilman Jones. 20, proposed ordinance providing for a 2017 supplemental appropriation 17-028 with the 2017 operations and maintenance budget to increase the coastal zone management budget by $79,870 for the purpose of the Grand Bayou Freshwater Reintroduction Project and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transaction as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Councilman Lorraine. Number 21, proposed ordinance providing for a 2017 supplemental appropriation 17-019 within the 2017 operations and maintenance budget to cover the engineering costs for the Abbey Road Overlay Project in the amount of $100,000 and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transactions as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Councilman Grow.
Thank you. Section D, resolutions. Number 22, resolution accepting a low quote of Lawson Environmental Services, LLC, in the amount of $6,783 for contractor services related to nuisance abatement. Ordinance number 3895 concerning demolition of a condemned structure located at 17589 East Main Street, Galliano, Louisiana, 70354.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to defer that till September the 12th. They have a buyer. And if you don't, excuse me, if you don't mind, item 23, I'd like to pull that one because they're doing a secession.
Okay, so number 22 is deferred until September 12th.
12th.
And number 23 is pulled.
We're going to pull it because they're in a secession, so.
Okay. Item 24, resolution requesting Lafourche Parish District Attorney to render an opinion as to whether the legislative branch has the authority to lock off the legislative suite separate from the executive branch. Somebody want to move for Mr. Lafont? You move? Mr. Jones, second by Mr. Esposito. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801. Number 25, resolution requesting the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development, LADOTD, to reduce the speed limit from 45 miles per hour to 40 miles per hour on Highway 3107 from Highway 3185 to Highway 309. Moved by Mr. Jones, second by Mr. O-Town. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801. Number 26, resolution appointing one member on the Central Lafourche Ambulance Service District Board. Mr. O-Town, who do you have?
There's one applicant, Mr. Mitch Ogeron.
Can we get a second on Mr. Ogeron? Second by Mrs. Esposito. Any further discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801. Number 27, resolution appointing one member to the Hospital Service District Number 3 Board. Mr. Grow.
Donald Io.
Can we get a second on Mr. Ayo? Moved by second by Mr. O-Town. Any further discussion? Being none, move it to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801. He's here? Congratulations, sir. You have been affirmed. Number 28, resolution appointing two members to the Bayou Blue Fire Protection District of the Parish of Terrebonne and Lafourche Board. Let me read that one more time. Resolution appointing two members to the Bayou Blue Fire Protection District of the Parish of Terrebonne and Lafourche Board. Moved by Mr. Bourgeois. Who you got, sir?
Yes, Mr. Charles Beasley and Mr. Terry Hartsock.
Can we get a second? Second by Mr. Lorraine. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801. Number 29, resolution approving a contract between Pisciola and Associates, Inc. for engineering services for the EDA grant program, LA Highway 308, Turn Lane, Airport Access Road Project, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said contract and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Lorraine. Second by? No second? Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, sir.
The rating sheet, why wasn't the rating sheet installed in this item 29?
Rating sheet?
Yeah, for the engineering rating sheets.
Administration, anybody? Mr. Haas.
I'm sorry, you asking why it was put in?
There was not. The rating sheet is not in here. This rate on, this is the price. I'm talking about the rating sheet for each engineer. You said you had 7 engineer firms, right? I don't see a rating sheet on none of them.
We'll have to, I'm not sure, I'll have to get with the grant writer. I know this is part of his project. And see why that wasn't put in.
All right.
All right, so, sounds like we should be deferring this resolution until we can get a rating sheet on the engineers. Would you pull your second, Mr. Bourgeois?
The only thing I want to ask is this going to affect the grant? Is there a time period or not? It says right here you had 7 responses, and they don't have they have the names of the companies, and they said that they chose Pisciola and Associates received the highest score. Now this is a grant, so is this going to affect the grant? We have a chance of losing it. I mean, the airport's the one that's very effective in this parish.
Yeah, but we got to
Very
follow the
effective.
law. If it requires a rating
No,
sheet, we have to
I'm
go
not-
by that.
I'm not asking you not to break the law. I'm just telling you, I want to know if it's going to affect the grant or not. If you got free money, you're going to lose it?
Who handles grants for the administration?
I don't know if you found something out with Kelly or not.
Yeah, the 8th whereas statement. Has it on there. Yes, right here. Whereas original proposals are on file with the Lafourche Parish government's grant writer due to their large size. The rating sheets are probably within that file. But if you want to defer, we can. I don't think it'll affect anything.
Okay.
I don't mind deferring it. I just want to make sure we don't lose the money. The grant, if we keep, I don't know.
He said he don't think it'll affect it.
That's fine with me, but I mean, we keep messing with the airport and keep messing with this and that. Gentlemen, that's what generates the revenue in the parish.
Mr. Bourgeois pulled his second. I'm waiting on Daniel to decide if he wants to pull his motion. All right, pull it, deferring it till when, August 22nd? All right, so deferred. Item number 30, resolution directing and authorizing the Louisiana State Mineral and Energy Board and the Office of Mineral Resources to accept nominations advertised for, accept and award bids, and execute all oil, gas, and mineral leases pertaining to the immovable property listed on the attached Exhibit A, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Melvin, second by Mr. Esposito. Any discussion? Being none, moving to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801. Number 31, resolution approving a contract between Picciola and Associates, Inc. for engineering services for the demolition of the Chevron Bridge and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said contract and any all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Lorraine, second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion? And I apologize, I missed the meeting last time. But if I remember right, the funding was approved out of the BP money? It's unfortunate. All right, move it to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801. Number 32, resolution amending resolution number 16-317 that authorized 5 Lafourche Parish government employees to purchase surplus federal property from the Louisiana Federal Property Assistance Agency, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Lorraine. Second by? No second? Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801. Please be a little more vocal with your votes, ladies and gentlemen. Number 33, resolution approving a contract between Lafourche Parish government and the School Food and Nutrition Services of New Orleans, Inc. to provide food services to the Lafourche Parish Head Start sites at South Lafourche 1, 2, and 3, and MGC 1, 2, and 3, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said contract and any all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Melvin. Second by Mrs. Esposito. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801. Number 34, resolution amending resolution number 16307 that amended resolution number 13-050 authorizing 5 Lafourche Parish government employees to purchase surplus state property from Louisiana Property Assistance Agency, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Lorraine. Second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801. Number 35, resolution approving a cooperative agreement between Lafourche Parish government and the Louisiana Department of Veterans Affairs, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Can someone move for me, please? Mrs. Esposito, second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801. Number 36, resolution accepting the quote of Gwynn Auction Company, Inc. to advertise and auction surplus property for an 8% commission on the sale of said surplus property, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer an agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Bourgeois. Second by? No, second by Mr. Gross, seconded. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801. Number 37, resolution approving a lease to purchase agreement between Lafourche Parish Government Coroner's Office and Stryker Sales Corporation for a lift system for the Lafourche Parish Coroner's Office, and authorizing the parish president and/or coroner to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Can someone move for me on that? Moved by Mr. Bourgeois, seconded by Mr. Otan. Mrs. Esposito.
I guess I spoke with a couple of people from the coroner's office, and they mentioned the poor condition that that building is in. Is there any possibility of moving them somewhere else?
On Wilson Street, the bank has a building, so I called them, and I said, what you want for it? And they never got back to me. So I don't know if I don't know what the price is, I don't know how much it's gonna be, but it's a nice building.
But you know the poor condition of the current building, though?
Well, it's not the best condition in the world.
Could Mr. Haas follow up on getting that price, or someone?
Well, I'll follow up on it.
Okay.
Mr. Grove.
I would just like to mention, I'm in support of looking into something for them too. It's not really that the building's in deplorable condition, it's the close proximity to the school. And if a kid would see something, back there, it wouldn't be too good, So, we definitely need to try to move them away from the school. The coroner's office should not be in the backyard of a playground.
Mr. Otan.
Yeah, I'd also like to thank the administration for looking into a new building for them. It's long overdue. That's a very restricted facility for a number of reasons, and they certainly have the budget, I think, to do it.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801. Section E, presentations and or updates. Number 38, presentation by Mr. David Stagney and Ms. Angelique Barker with Stagney and Company LLC to discuss the 2016 audit. Name and address for the record, please.
My name's Angelique Barker. I work for Stagney Company, and our office is 207 LaFay Avenue in Thibodeau. I'm assuming y'all all have a copy of the audit report.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. I'm going to probably first talk about the findings and then get into a few items in the report. Stop me at any time if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer them. The independent auditor's report, which is our opinion on your financial condition, is an unmodified opinion. That is on page 25. I'm gonna kind of jump around through the report. I'll give you some page numbers. You might want to just jot them down if you want to go back and look at some of this. Another report that we have in here is the GAO report, which is our report on compliance with laws and regulations. That's on page 234, and we had no findings in that report. We did have a couple of findings, however. On the schedule findings and question costs, which is on page 242, we have a finding reported as 2016-001 regarding the CSBG program. What happened here is the Lafourche Parish Council adopted a resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement to reimburse the school uniform assistance provider for uniforms, shirts, and pants for this program for participants who meet the guidelines. What we found was the cooperative endeavor agreement that was actually entered into had no mention of the maximum cost as was indicated in the resolution adopted by the council. So when we went to test these, we tested 18 applicants who received assistance for such uniforms. All of the applicants tested received more than the maximum amount set by the resolution. Also, we found that assistance to participants also included items purchased that were not listed as allowed per the resolution or the cooperative endeavor agreement, such as hair bows, backpacks, socks, and belts. So with every finding that we do, the administration has a chance to give us management's corrective action plan or what they plan to do about it. So that's also included in this report. There's a management corrective action plan section, but I was just going to read what their corrective action plan was for each finding. The upcoming school uniform vouchers will reflect the items covered as stated in the cooperative endeavor agreement and also any maximum dollar amount stated in the cooperative endeavor agreement. When the vouchers are submitted for reimbursement, only those meeting the agreed upon factors will be paid. Vendor, program directors, staff, and finance will check for accuracy before payments are made. All right, any questions on that finding?
Mr. Chair.
Jones.
Yeah, on that CSBG, on the uniforms, they did a corporate endeavor agreement,
Correct.
all right? It was the store that let them charge accessories like a borat, a school bag, you know.
Correct.
It's some part of that store had some fault in this.
I don't disagree.
You don't disagree with that?
Correct.
So we did a corrective action last meeting, and we corrected that. Because we also put in the resolution that no accessories, is only uniforms. So that's been taken care of.
Good.
But I wouldn't sit down and put it all on CSBG because the cooperative endeavor stated 2 uniforms, 2 pants, 2 shirts.
Right.
Exactly.
So, and we have to report what we find according to what the program guidance says at that time. So I'm not really putting blame anywhere. I'm just saying that's the criteria is they had to follow the rules, and
Just want to let
that's
you
what
know
we
that
find.
it was taken care of, and it was not at fault of the parish.
Okay, good. Anything else? All right, our other finding is in a management letter comment, and it's on the, let's see what page that would be on if you wanted to find it, on page 276, report finding 2016-002. The reason it's in a management comment is it's our judgment when we look at evaluating these, sorry. Oop, okay, wait, I'll find it. Management letter. All the reports. Shoot, sorry, where did I get that
Parish
number?
purchasing procedures?
Yeah,
Oh,
246,
246.
sorry. I wrote the wrong number. Basically, all purchases, contracts, and/or expenditures with a cumulative expenditure of $15,000 or more require parish council approval as per your ordinance. And what we found was, there were 2 purchases that were made that were not approved by the council. One, a purchase for 37 computers for the library that totaled $25,160. And also, there was an invoice for an east side drainage improvement for professional services. And actually, there was a note attached to the invoice that said this work was done prior to approval by the council. So we probably test, I would say, at least 20 items for, to see if they follow bid law and/or purchasing procedures. So of those, we found those 2. Management's corrective action plan for that one is that all parties involved were notified of this error, and library purchases meeting this criteria have since followed in proper policies and procedures. Administration, department head, managers, and finance have been made aware of these policies and procedures. Since this condition occurred, all have been reminded to make sure finance is notified prior to commencement of any project, and any and all costs are brought before council before proceeding with projects. So that was the 2 findings we had and the 2 comments on what would be done about them. Any comments on that finding?
Yes.
Questions?
On that library deal, that has been taken care of. It was just a slip. And
Yeah, I think we had a little confusion
been
on if the
talked to,
library
and
was supposed to follow the same
and
policy.
I guess it happens.
Yeah, I agree, it does.
That's what you're there for.
That's right. We had to find something. All right, I have a couple of comments about the financial report. Comments on the statement of net position, which is on page 41. See, the net position of the Lafourche Parish government at December 31st, 2016 was $145,493,000. Now, that's all funds. And that also encompasses all the fixed assets and debt. It's all included in the statement of net position. 82 million of the total net position reflects the investment in capital assets. That's your land, buildings, infrastructure, machinery and equipment, less any related outstanding debt that goes along with that, and accumulated depreciation. The parish uses capital assets to provide services to citizens. Consequently, these assets are not available for future spending. It's not unrestricted. 5.9 million of the net position is restricted for debt service, and 18.9 million is restricted for capital projects. That leaves about 38 million of unrestricted net position. And if you want any detail about the capital assets, like the composition, the depreciation, any of that, you can look on note 5 is on page 79. And if you want detail about the debt and long-term obligations, that's on note 6 on page 80. A comment on the statement of activities, which is on page 42. The net position increased by 13 million from 2015. That's always a forward-looking sign when your net position increases. The net position was restated, the beginning balance was restated. If you look, note 17, which is on page 96, explains there was a $871,000 increase of beginning net position, and that was for the addition, consolidation of the recreation districts into the parish accounting. Is there any other questions on the financial information or financial statement?
Mr. Lorraine?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, if not, in conclusion, I'd like to thank the accounting and finance departments for their cooperation and assistance provided to us during the audit.
All right, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
All right, moving along, Section F, Engineers, Architects, Reports. Any engineers? Being none. Section G, Parish President, Department Heads, Directors, and/or Managers' Reports, Presentations, or Updates. Mr. James Barnes, Director of Public Works, to present a presentation.
Good evening. Back up one, see if I... Okay, this is James Street, digging the ditches, District 1. We're gonna get to it. All right. Leonard Street, digging the ditches. Let's take it off on me, hold on. Why it's not backing up. Okay, here we go. This is James Street, digging the ditches.
Fast forward.
This is Leonard Street, digging, digging the ditches. Jack Bay North Levee, cleaning the levee. I would like for y'all to pay attention to this one right here. We have a tree shredder on that excavator that the unit itself, the shredder part was actually in the grass, bought by another administration that was not used, so we got it out, repaired it, put it on this excavator right here. And if you notice that outfall ditch right there, it's been some time, quite a while since it's been cleaned. So now we have a shredder, because we have so many outfalls, it's in this condition right here that the trees has took it over. And this here was restricting the flow in this area because that part of the outfall ditch hadn't been dug in several years. Okay, now you see the ditch and the finished product. The finished product is on your right. Cherry Drive, sweeping the ditches and cleaning the culverts. This is the Zalman's cleaning a drainage ditch along the railroad tracks. This is what they call the power line ditch, preparing to dig the ditch. And if you notice on one side how it's overgrown.
Can we invest in like a better clicker device? You know, like batteries or something, I don't know.
Okay. Did we pass up any? Let me see. All right, this is Sugar Ridge East Pump Canal cleaned. This is all, there we go. When it takes off, it takes off. All right, this is the Sugar Ridge East Pump Canal cleaned.
Let it sink in.
That's still the Sugar Ridge East drainage.
James, can we defer the rest of it till next time and get that clicker thing looked at?
Yes,
Because
it's gonna be a while.
we're like sitting idle here for a long,
Yeah.
long time.
Can you run it manual? Okay, she's gonna run it manual.
Okay.
This here is Waverly Road, cutting the grass. If you notice, that's an excavator with a bush hog on it. It's overgrown. Okay. Okay, this is 12 cedars before and after digging the ditches. Sorry about that, Michael.
Just give us 1 second. She's gonna switch to another system and speed it up a little bit.
Keep going. Right there. Okay, this is, go forward, Gretchen. The de-gravel ditch, sweeping and cleaning the ditch from Parish Road to LA1. Bungee trail, installing a culvert. Edgewood Drive, demolishing the old sewer lift station. Peanut Lane, cleaning the ditches. Marybeth Avenue, before and after the ditches. Highway 665, Pointer Shan, removing the culverts. The undersized culverts, what a landowner had come in there and hauled some material and rolled them culverts in the ditch. And it took us a little while to go through the process but we did get them removed. And that's them opening up the canal. Anthony Outfall Canal, Bobcat Levee hauling off the cut trees and debris. Dufresne Street, changing an undersized driveway culvert. Recreation Center spreading some dirt on the field. Coastal Pump Station cleaning the canal. Buchanan Outfall Ditch cleaning the canal. Charlie Wallace Outfall removing the trees and digging the outfall. Jason Street digging the roadside ditches. Lockport Head Start removing the trees around the fences. South Main Outfall Ditch clearing the right of way. And then again, well, can you back up? You see how much it's grew up in front of that excavator? Gentlemen, it's took several years for it to get in this kind of shape. But that's digging our outfall canals is a pretty good project in itself at times. The T-Boy Bridge, changing the electric motor on the bridge. Crosby Outfall Canal, cutting the grass on the outfall. East 29th Street, outfall, digging the canal. East 37th Place, cutting the roadside ditches. East 53rd, sweeping the ditches. East 74th, cleaning the roadside ditches. Kenny Cowett pulling the trees from the outfall. Then again, y'all see how big the trees are. West 33rd, cleaning the culverts. West 74th Street, changing out a bad culvert. West 213th Street, digging the outfall canal. And that's it.
All right, any questions for Mr. Barnes? Mr. Bourgeois?
Yes, Mr. Barnes, I want to thank you and Mr. Von Dufresne out of the Bayou Blue office for clearing the blockage on the bayou down in Pointe-aux-Chenes. The whole community was pretty upset about that illegal crossing, or whatever you want to call it, where they filled in the bayou and put those little dinky culverts when the ordinance requires a full bridge. And you're doing it right, doing it good. Meant a lot to the residents of Pointe-aux-Chenes. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Mr. Otan?
Yeah, a couple of questions. South Main Outfall, where's that located at, James? I never heard it referred to as that. South Main Outfall.
I had to get
Didn't
with
look
you on
familiar.
that. I had to get with you on that
Okay.
one.
I'm sure it's one of the ones that we're used to, but it's just a term, so I'm just was curious.
Okay.
On the coastal outfall that you showed where you're trying to clean it out, and you can see it's heavily overtaken with lilies. I know where we had approved the spraying of the lilies. Has that taken place yet, or no?
No, sir, not yet, but we did put a boat in there and push the lilies to the excavator, and it improved it 80%.
Okay, is there a plan to spray it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. On the T-Bois Bridge, I know on the 10th, you're gonna be replacing one of those motors, correct? From like 9 to 2 or something like that?
That's correct.
I'm not aware the West LaRose Bridge is gonna be open at that time?
It's gonna be open.
Okay. I've been getting just a lot of hollering from businesses in that area that are suffering tremendously every time the T-Bois goes down, especially when West LaRose is out. So, but anyway, so we really need to get that word out over and over in the next couple of days, just so people are aware that bridge is gonna be out. And, last thing is, I noticed on the picture you had mentioned about changing out bad culverts. Some of them look like they were pretty long. The standard policy when you're changing out a bad culvert, you're only gonna change out a rotten culvert, I'm talking about. So in some of these photos, especially the last couple, you show where you change out rotten culverts. You typically only change out the driveway access and no other culverts. The landowners are responsible for anything outside of, I mean, a 20-something foot driveway, or? What's the standard with that?
40 foot.
So 40 foot. So the parish will change out 40 foot of a rotten culvert.
If they have a long driveway, we can change up to 40 feet. If they have 2 driveways on one lot, we can change 40 feet on each one of them.
Okay. Good, thanks.
And also to let you know, we did have another breakdown on the T-Boy Bridge this afternoon. It's closed to marine traffic. Still got people working on it. Parts are going to the machine shop. It's not hurting vehicular traffic and should be open back to vessel traffic about 10 in the morning. Then Thursday, we're going to do the electric motor swap out.
Mrs. Esposito.
James, I just want to thank you for all that you did this weekend, all the work the field offices did. I know they probably racked up a little bit of overtime, but it was amazing how they kept everything going. I know we were expecting a heavy rainfall, but they did a good job, and thank you for answering my calls and responding to my email, because you are the only one I ever hear from, so I appreciate that. That's it for now.
Mr. Jones.
Yeah, Ms. Bourne, I want to give a shout out to you and Region 8 Bourne for a fine job y'all did over the weekend for the rain. Also, the great job you did on James Street and Leonard Street. The people over there was very pleased. Water is draining, so no flooding in that area right now. Also, I saw that you had the giraffe shredder available.
Yes, sir.
Can we get to Diplomat Way?
We're going to get to that. That's on the list, and it was a blessing when we discovered it and rebuilt it, that now we have a parish-owned shredder.
Okay. Also, Abbey Lake Homeowner Association. They called me a few times in the past, and they called me again this weekend about that project on that side ditch for the completion. Do you have any idea when we're going to get to that?
No, sir, not at this present.
Okay. The money's in the budget, right?
Yes, sir.
So we're going to contract that out or do it in-house?
We're looking at both avenues.
Okay. Can I get an answer pretty soon? Because the homeowners, they want to know. And what's the holdup? So we can get an answer on that, all right?
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next section, Section H, questions for the administration.
I got one for the
Mr.
president.
Jones.
Mr. Cantrell, last meeting you said you had an accident. The damage was $107.
I didn't say anything. I don't know, but I think the part was $107. I'm not sure, for my vehicle.
Yeah, well, what was the damage on the other vehicle, if there was another vehicle involved?
I have no clue.
Have no clue?
No, sir.
Did the parish pay for the other vehicle?
I have no clue about that either.
You have no clue?
No, sir.
Mr. Cantrell, I think you signed a check for $2,200 for that vehicle.
I don't sign any checks. That's a stamp, Mr. Jones. You know it.
Well, you don't know what you stamped?
Oh, it's a stamp that they do in finances.
Well, they're not telling you what they're stamping?
No.
Well, there's a check there. On the other vehicle, about $2,200. Also, was the money returned to the parish, the $38,000, whatever?
No, sir.
When we planning on doing that, Mr. Cam said we had to do that immediately.
I returned what I received.
Which was 22?
22, something like that.
So the taxpayer gonna pay your income tax?
No, you get credit with the IRS. It's just a procedure. Come on, man, you know better than that. If you
Yeah,
don't,
but you
should.
got the credit.
No, I didn't get any credit. They're gonna do a reverse. If I would have paid with the income tax to take out, where would I have gotten my money from after that? Because y'all would have got, the parish would have got the credit. You can't be that silly.
No, I'm not that silly, but you should never took the money in the first place. because you knew you had to come to the council.
No, sir, I didn't know that.
I'd like to see that tax credit form,
Well,
because the DA said you had to return all of the money, not part of it.
that's been worked out with the DA, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other questions for the administration? Ms. Esposito.
I sent you an email Sunday morning about communications, and I'm just wondering, during a rain event or any sort of event like that, have we just given up on trying to inform the public as to
No.
what's going on or the status
No,
of the
No,
parish?
I called, and I said, and I called Mr. Barnes, and he said he had nothing to report. And Mr. Barnes is here right here. You can ask him. I said, is there anything to report? And he said he didn't have anything to report.
So you think in a situation like that, that the only thing that needs to be told to the public is that unless there's something Mr. Barnes has to report, nothing about an emergency number? Because I know I was called by someone who had a tree fall on their vehicle and they didn't know who to contact. So in situations like that, it's just basic information that's usually given out from,
Ms. Esposito, you call the parish government, we have an answering service that directs the calls. And the tree that fell was not on the parish, I believe Mr. Barnes can answer that too.
right, but at the time when it happened, they needed help right away.
Well, sure, but I mean, if they call the parish, the person in charge of the answering service directs the calls to
So
where it's
you're not
supposed to go.
understanding what I'm asking you. You just don't want to, just chose not to communicate with the public in any way, whether it be telling them that flash flooding was expected, and all that comes with flash flooding.
Ms. Esposito,
and,
can I speak now?
to clean their culverts, or just even basic information that the situation was being monitored, that we had people on staff, just nothing, no way to inform, nothing had to be informed.
Ms.
Had to be
Esposito,
what?
James Barnes is head of the Director of Public Works. If he had anything to report, he would have called me or called a person that he had to have it directed to, which would be the PIO, the person in charge of whoever puts out the information. And he chose.
So you're thinking the only
No,
time
I'm not
to-
thinking at all. I'm saying what happened. Let me finish, please. I don't interrupt you, so let me finish. I called Mr. Barnes, and when I read the email, which was later that afternoon, I called Mr. Barnes, or sometimes, I don't remember what time it was exactly. I said, Mr. Barnes, do you have anything to report? So we need to inform them. He says, no, I don't have anything to report. And he's here right now. I'm not speaking for him. I'll let him speak for himself.
Are you done now? Can I
I'm done
speak?
now.
Okay, so that was Sunday when I sent that email to you and Mr. Haas, and that was Sunday after the rain event had really finished. Friday and Saturday were the difficult days when the public were calling the council members, and I'm fine with taking calls from the public, but the administration needs to get on the front line and inform people so they don't have to ask those questions, or they don't have to call their council members, that you are constantly informing them through press releases. And the next thing is the only thing that's necessary to inform the public isn't just when Mr. Bourne says something's wrong, and by Sunday, you had already missed the boat. What I'm asking you to do is in the future, please, before we all receive the NWS information saying that there were flash floods expected, before, during, and after an event like that, if we could just do a better job of informing the public.
Ms. Esposito, as a council person, you could also inform the public.
And believe me, I did, and so did
Well-
the others.
Well, then, if you inform them,
Okay, so you're not comprehending what I'm saying. I'll
no,
let
I do
someone else.
comprehend what you're saying. Yes, I do, but you're trying to make an issue where there's no issue.
Mr. Grove.
If I believe I'm hearing this correct, in the past, public information officer has put out, the Barnes have sandbags available, we're expecting this, that's all she's asking. We've done it in the past, we didn't do it, we missed the ball this time, let's do a better job, that's it. It's
Okay.
nothing other than that.
That's what you want. In other words, we'll try to do better next time.
Mr. Jones.
Yeah, I just want to clear something up, Mr. Chairman. This is a check request form signed by you for $2,260.90. This is the canceled check for that automobile. So I don't want you to say you misspoke. So just clearing it up. Thank you.
I'm kind of curious as to the policy for vehicle accidents. It states that if you're a parish employee and you're involved in a vehicle accident, you have to submit to a drug test. Did you submit to a drug test, Mr. Cantrell?
No, I didn't, and I'll tell you the reason. It happened after 5. There was nobody. I tried to call. They were all gone. And so the next morning, I reported it the next morning. And actually, she didn't even tell me I had to get an incident report, but I found out that I had to get one, and I got one.
Okay, because I just want to make sure that, you know,
And I'll
we're
take-
all on a
well,
level playing field here.
Mr. Perillo, I'll take any drug test, anytime, anywhere, any alcohol test you want, because I don't drink, and Mr. Jones knows that, because he monitored when we went on the little event that he said we drank, and I know I didn't even take a sip of wine. I don't drink at all because I have high blood pressure, and I don't drink, period.
My question is not a veiled
And I'll gladly
implication on that.
I'll take any drug test you want anytime, but I'd like the council to take one too with me, so we could all take it together.
I didn't run into nobody.
No, but hey, we'll all take one. I'm willing to take one anytime.
I don't think anybody objects up here to taking a drug test to serve the better good of the public.
Well, then let's all take one.
Let's go. You gonna pay for them?
No, I'm not paying.
Mr. Chairman?
And by
Sir.
the way, if you'd have gone after hours to the hospital, that test could have ran $12,000, $15,000. I don't know. They said it was a very expensive test at the hospital.
A urine test?
No, I don't know about that now. Drug test.
Go ahead, sir.
The policy and procedure is to take a test, drug test, after all accident, all employees, elected, if you're driving a vehicle or not, a parish vehicle, you take a drug test. And also to clear up, I didn't say you was drinking. The picture speaks 1,000 words, and you didn't see a drink in front of you, right? Okay, so let's clear that up.
Let's clear it up. I didn't drink at all, and I wasn't watching who drank.
Yeah, well, I was.
Oh, okay. Well, then you know I didn't drink.
I was.
Then
I
you-
didn't say you drank, but I know who was.
Then you know, Mr. Jones, I didn't drink.
And
Okay.
Mr. Cantrell, I was not implying illegal drug use or anything. I was just implying that if there's a policy in place, everyone should be covered under that same
And I
policy.
agree with you, Mr. Perillo. I went the next morning and reported the accident, like I should have done. In other words, but I know there's a lot of other accidents that it was not reported. Some people hid the vehicle 3 or 4 months in the barn, so not to report the accident, but that's okay. I'm a big boy, and I'll take fault for what I did. I backed up accidentally into somebody. It's a little issue, but if you want to make a mountain out of a big molehill, so go ahead. But I'm going to say one thing to you, sir. I'm gladly take any test, anytime on drugs, without issues anywhere. So, but I didn't know I had to go get a drug test. And where would I have gone? Because it's all closed after 5 o'clock.
Yeah, it would probably help to inform yourself on your own policy.
Well, Mr. Perillo, I'm sure you don't know every policy in the whole manual. If you do, let me know, because
If I have an accident, I'm gonna call somebody if I don't know what the procedures are. Believe me, sir.
I tried. It was closed. It was after 5 o'clock. What else can I tell you?
You call people all hours of the night. You ain't gonna call somebody after 5? Come on, sir.
I called the people I thought that I had to call, and I'm not making no excuses.
You're making a big deal. All I did was ask you to
no,
please
no.
practice what you preach and participate in your own policy.
Mr. Perillo, there's many accidents that happen. We going back, we found a bunch, and we're not finished yet, that no drug test was made. So, a lot of accidents during working hours. So don't come with this over here, because just because I didn't do it after 5 o'clock, but I went the next morning, the very next morning. I didn't wait 4 days, 5 days, or a week. I did what I thought was right. Now, if it didn't turn out to be right, I'm sorry, but I did what I said and I thought was right. And if you want to make anything out of it, go ahead.
I just want you to do the right thing as a parish president of Lafourche Parish, sir. Mr. Grove.
Just one quick thought on that. An accident happened, you didn't get a drug test. In the future, get one. Why are you wasting time going back and trying to figure out who else might have done the same thing? Let's move forward. Policy is a policy. We don't need to dig up past administration if somebody did that. I mean, that's ridiculous. Don't waste your time on that. Let's move this parish forward.
All right.
We're here to govern, not to put name blame on past administration
I
or
didn't
to
say-
say there was 10 other people that did it.
I didn't
You
say-
made a mistake, move on, let's go.
Well, that's what I'm trying to
Okay.
do, Mr. Gordon, I appreciate it, but listen, the reason why I wanted to find out was I the only one, and I found out, no, I was not the only one. Thank you.
Mr. Otan.
Yeah, I would just ask the administrator to perhaps research this a little bit and get with all the employees so everyone's crystal clear on what you do after hours, and if there is a contact number that they need to contact. Because I know we have people out on the road after hours, weekends, so I think everyone needs to be crystal clear. And just for my interaction with it, for instance, I mean, week before last, for instance, I had a Jefferson Parish vehicle that was involved in an after-hour incident in my area, and they unwillingly had to get in a Acadian ambulance and go to St. Anne for a drug test. So I do know that neighboring parishes have specific policies. So I would just ask that maybe you research and make sure that everyone, not just the administration, but everyone with the parish is crystal clear. Because it's highly likely that we could see this happen again.
Mr. Otan, I agree with you, and now that I know the policy, I will go to the hospital, and the parish is gonna pay for the drug test, so I didn't know it at that time, but I will do it.
Mr. Bourgeois.
I'd like to ask the administrator, I mean, actually, those of us sitting at the table, we have access to a vehicle that the council has and all of that. I personally don't know what the procedures are, and I don't know about my peers sitting here. I know Mr. Otan and I discussed it. We'd ask that, I think the 10 of us sitting here probably need to know it more than the employees who drive vehicles on a regular basis.
Mr. Jones.
I think we all know that you should call the sheriff department and when you have an accident.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer. Mr. Haas, you have something, sir?
Yes, sir. Multiple items on there. In regards to the flash flooding, the rains, I did discuss with PIO today, and what we are going to do is take a more proactive approach. At least when we start to see that, we start to have people reporting. I do not recall the NWS alert citing flash flooding. Do recall us, citing getting rain. Sometimes it drops in a specific area. So she now has the numbers available that for any time we start to see that we're getting heavy rain or forget the NWS report, we are going to put out an announcement through our social media sites to our citizens, let them know which numbers to call. I'm also coordinating with EOC on some procedures maybe we can enact so that even though we don't have necessarily a state of emergency requiring us to open the barns 24/7, maybe we can give our people some access for those who need it. When you have an isolated incident of, hey, I've got water, I know specifically on my street in Bayou Vista, there's particularly one house that will catch water before everybody else. So while everybody else can be high and dry, that one particular house may be in need of sandbags. So we're looking into putting in something that can help our citizens and alleviate that. So we are jumping on that. As far as for the policy on parish vehicles and getting into wrecks, it does state very generally, if you get in an accident, you're supposed to report it to the risk management team and get a drug test. I find that the policy as written is very vague and it's lacking. So we are going to go back and make it more restrictive. We are going to break it down into what we should do during working hours, what we should do in certain hours following working hours, because we do have urgent care available. And speaking with Ms. Rita, our assistant risk manager, that is available to us as a more inexpensive way of getting the drug test done. And then from there, we're even going to go beyond the hours of what urgent care can offer us and have a policy and a procedure in place to cover those hours as well. In case we have an emergency call out and a pumper goes to his pump and gets in a wreck on the way, to cover anything along those areas. So we will get it out. In the meantime, I can take the current policy and I can email it out to every individual, anyone who needs it, or we can send it out government-wide if you so choose. Make sure everybody's updated on as it is now, but it is going to change. It's going to become more restrictive.
It's a learning opportunity.
Yes, sir. And that's it.
Mr. Otan.
Yeah, I was just asking, and while we're talking about public information officers, I know for the, inundated with calls for the last couple of weeks, couple of months with these crazy rain events. I don't know if it's possible, if there's any way that we could post real-time data on rainfall amounts for like areas, if that's something that it would be available for us to do. And the reason I say that is oftentimes, so I jump on the phone, you know, to get with DPW about what's going on in an area where they're inundated in a much larger area. And it'd be nice if all the residents could see that, hey, you got 5 inches across the bayou, we got 6 inches up the bayou, 5-6 miles, we got 7 inches. Some of these crazy rainfall amounts, I think it would be informative if we could publish or put out there what's going on real time in terms of the number of inches of rain, if you follow what I'm saying. I don't know if that's possible.
Yes, sir,
or
yes,
not.
I get what you're saying. I will get with Mr. Eric Benoit. He tends to get our alerts on the weather and see if there's something we can piggyback off of with the state, or at least that we can look at and then transfer that to our social media sites.
Also, I'd like to know where we are in the grand scheme of things with the health insurance discussion for next year, the health insurance for employees.
Be getting with our HR director and our human resources manager, who were heavily involved last year. I'm going to get some input from them, but we're going to be starting on that this Monday. I'm looking to change the process from what was followed last year. We were looking at different avenues to make sure we are more informed throughout, top to bottom. That's legislative and on the executive side. And any input you may want to give me is more than welcome, as far as for where the failures were in the communication last year. Where do we feel that, you know, things could have been done better? All that data is going to help us move this forward, hopefully in a lot more less painless manner than what we experienced last year. But that is, you know, in going with our proactive communication of what I'm trying to install here through the departments, we're going to do the same thing with the health insurance as well.
Okay, so just to be clear, there hasn't been an issuance of an agent of record letter to any insurance agencies?
No, sir.
Okay. Anyone else? No more questions. Moving on to section I. Council reports, presentations, updates, and our questions. None. Section J, legal advisor report. None. Section K, public wishing to address the council. None. Section L, any further discussion of this council on this meeting? Being none, can I get a motion to adjourn? Moved by Mr. Bourgeois, second by Mr. Jones. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? 801 at 6:33. We are adjourned.